This Impact Wrestling review was brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. Try it, and Sting will job to Bully Ray at Slammiversary like he damn well should. Well, we've got a Slammiversary main event now. It seems anyone who thought that tease last week was going to lead to Hogan and Sting renewing their rivalry was mistaken. And this week they worked out their differences pretty quickly. The prospect of another Hogan-Sting feud didn't exactly thrill me, so I was okay with this. Although, them putting together rival factions to fight against each other might have been kinda cool. But Hogan apologizes, Sting accepts, and their bromance is back in full force like the last couple weeks never happened. Then Matt Morgan interrupts their little love fest, and before you know it, we've got a #1 contenders match for a main event. Even though Hogan said just last week that Morgan getting a title shot would be worse than Bully Ray being the champion, but it turns out Hogan thinks Morgan beating Sting in a match would make him more worthy of a title shot than Morgan taking out the Aces and Ace. Not surprising. And if the possibility of TNA using Sting here to put Morgan over and give him a rub got you excited in any way, well, then you probably haven't seen this show before. This was an okay segment. The promos were good. It didn't go too long. I got a kick out of Morgan calling Hogan out on how his buddy Sting seems to get handed an awful lot of title shots. And it was nice to see one of the homegrown guys included in this Sting-Hogan dynamic, so it was a decent opener. Unfortunately, it was leading up to something I wasn't looking forward to because we all knew how it was going to end.
Oh my God, he's gonna puke! He's gonna puke! He's gonna puke! He's gonna puke!
Some of you may be wondering what my thoughts were on the one-night-only Joker's Wild show, and I was all set to watch it, but as it turns out, it was airing on the same day that Iron Man 3 premiered, and, well, long story short, I haven't seen the pay-per-view yet. Seriously, TNA, who was the brain trust that scheduled that one? Then we had our X Division Contenders match, and the return of Chris Sabin.
Yes!
Okay, most of you know this by now. Chris Sabin is my favorite wrestler. No. Really? With him coming back from 2 ACL tears after so long on the shelf, I was excited, I was nervous, I wasn't thinking about the future, wasn't even thinking about next week. I was just hoping he'd get through the match without getting injured again. And he did. Wonderful. I'm taking a one-match-at-a-time mentality with him right now, but this was a good sign. As for how he looked in the ring, it was a short match, we didn't have a lot to go on, but for what they booked him to do, I thought he did about as well as we could have hoped for, all things considered. It was a really good match, he looked pretty solid in there. He was different, obviously. He wasn't working the same high-risk, high-flying style we're used to seeing from Chris Sabin. That's probably gone now, and I expected as much. But hopefully, as he gets back into the swing of things, if he can stay healthy this time, with any luck, he can be, if not the same wrestler he was before the injuries, then as good as he was before, but in a different way. But for his first night back, I'd say it was a pretty triumphant return for Chris Sabin, and yeah. Welcome back, dude. I gotta say, though, I really wasn't digging the X-Cam shots in this match. They felt really jarring, and it seems like they still can't figure out the best times to cut to it. I'm gonna give it a little more time before I weigh in officially, but I'm leaning towards voting no on this one. Rob Terry versus Robbie E., Jessie, Godderz, and Joey Ryan in a handicap match. Oh man, what to say about this? TNA refused to give up on Rob Terry. They are just dead set on this guy being their answer to Ryback. I don't know why. Personally, I would have cut the cord on this guy a long time ago, but nevertheless, we have what we have. And it could be worse, I guess. I mean, it's not like he beat up anyone important here. I mean, Jessie Godderz might become something someday, but he really doesn't have anything to lose at this stage, and he's been directionless for months. This is exactly the kind of thing Robbie E should be doing. He's a jobber. And so is Joey Ryan, for that matter. I wish that were not the case. Joey Ryan is talented and a fun character. I wish they would do more with him, but with the direction TNA have taken with Joey Ryan, yeah, he's a jobber. So Terry crushing these guys wasn't terribly interesting, but it didn't really bother me either. And right now, they're just spoon-feeding Terry enhancement guys and hoping he gets over. And while that doesn't excite me at all, at least it's been mostly painless so far. Will it work? I kind of doubt it. I mean, Terry's got the botching under control finally, but I still don't think he's any good. And when they've got two much more talented big men in developmental right now, the fact that we're getting another Rob Terry push, I just have no desire to see this.
This alleged superstar is an unworthy opponent.
Another fantastic promo segment with the Wet Dream Team and Bad Influence. Hell yeah!
Yes! 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 Yes!
These teams play off each other so well, I could listen to them talk all day. This feud would be so awesome, it wouldn't even need the tag team titles. And even if we don't get that feud, at least we'll be getting a #1 contenders match next week. I can't wait to see that. Although, we are at a point now where TNA desperately need to get a new tag team in the mix. As much as I love Bad Influence, I can't even remember the last time they won a match, and yet they're still in tag title contention. And why? Because you only got 3 teams right now. That's just not enough. That said, this was another wonderfully entertaining exchange between these 4 guys. Until, once again, Los Stereotypicos have to come out and ruin everything. And of course, once again, they come out to absolutely no crowd reaction whatsoever. Take a hint, TNA management.
This whole show is ridiculous!
You know, every time this happens, I honestly feel like the writers are just trolling us by trotting out these 2 buzzkills. And actually, now that I think of it, this is something that's really crying out for a good meme. Like, the segment was terrific, everything was going great. Did you notice when Chavo said, "All you guys do is talk," that Kazarian said, "At least we're good at it"? Bazing! That was awesome. See, Kazarian, he knows the real score here, even if TNA management can't figure it out. And then Chavo brings out James Storm, who's going to be the special referee in that match next week. I guess that makes sense. I mean, Storm has the history with Rude, and Bad Influence attacked him last week, which does sort of indirectly connect to the AJ Styles angle, but it kind of feels like they're losing focus on that now. I really wish they could find a more integral role for James Storm than this. I have no idea what their plan is for him anymore. Kurt Angle challenges one of the Aces and Eights. D'Lo Brown accepts, even though D'Lo was fired by the company a few weeks ago. And I'm not saying that part wasn't a little sketchy, but they needed to tie up this D'Lo plot thread, and better they do it now than at Slammiversary, so I can overlook that part. D'Lo wants an I Quit match. So they have a spur-of-the-moment I Quit match without any hype or prior announcement. And that used to really irritate me, but that was during the Russo era when stuff like this happened literally every week. Once in a while it's okay. Besides, it's not like a D'Lo Brown match is going to send the ratings through the roof in any case. The match, quite frankly, is pretty slow and pretty boring. Let's not put D'Lo in the ring again, please.
It's not the 90s anymore and nobody wants to see you in spandex.
Aces and Eights try to help him, D'Lo tells them not to, and Angle beats him in a match that, let's be honest, went way too goddamn long. Aces and Eights are pissed afterward, D'Lo's gonna be in hot water next week, and if this leads to him getting kicked out of the group and or usurped by Anderson or something the way it looks like it's going to, then that's just fine with me. The less time we waste on this, the better. Moving on. Angle then calls out AJ Styles. Him and Sting have a 6-man tag with the Aces and Eights next week. They want AJ on their team, and he's either with them or against them. You know, it seems to me that Hogan gave AJ that very same ultimatum a few weeks ago and nothing came of it. I mean, shouldn't they know that AJ doesn't respond well to ultimatums by now? Anyway, that part was good. Decent hype for the 6-man next week, but man, if TNA think this D'Lo Brown thing makes for compelling TV, they really don't have their heads screwed on straight. Taryn Terrell and Mickie James versus Gail Kim and Tara. The match is okay, but nothing special. They still really need some new knockouts. And on that note, on May 22nd, the voting opens for bracket 13 of the online Gut Check Challenge. Nikki Storm is in that bracket, and I cannot urge you strongly enough to vote for her. You have to register to vote, but it's worth your time. It takes like 2 minutes. You want to see some new knockouts? Nikki Storm is one of the best female talents in Europe. May 22nd through 24th. Go to the website, vote for Nikki Storm, and we can make this happen. Back on topic, Taryn gets the pin for the faces, the heels lay him out post-match, and nothing new to report here. It looks like they're continuing the Gail-Taryn feud, that's about it. And Mickie James, I really don't know anymore. I'm clueless. No sign of a heel turn anywhere after she seemed so close to it last week. I don't know why they keep dragging their feet on this. It's almost like a John Cena thing with her now. They've been teasing this Mickie heel turn on and off for a year. Practically everyone agrees that it would be a really good thing for her, but they just won't pull the trigger. What are you waiting for? And plus, Slammiversary is not that far off. Velvet Sky doesn't have a title challenger yet. The way it's going, I'm assuming it's going to be Taryn. It's too soon for that in my opinion, but all I can say right now is I really feel like not turning Mickie heel last week was a bad call.
You people are fools!
Our main event is Matt Morgan versus Sting for the world title shot at Slammiversary. The match is slow and dull. Sting has nothing in the tank anymore, and God help him try to apply the Scorpion Deathlock at this point. That was awful. It takes a really special kind of wrestler, like Austin Aries for example, to get a compelling match out of him, and Morgan just isn't that guy. And that's not a shot at Matt Morgan at all. This is just not a good matchup for either of them. And then the finish happened.
This is how the world ends. Not with a bang, but with a whimper.
At least they didn't make him tap out. But Morgan said that he was going to plow through every member of the roster one by one to get to the world title, and the first time in 7 months that he really has to put up or shut up, he loses. TNA, if in a couple years from now, Matt Morgan has not become a big draw for you and you're wondering why, it's because of stuff like this. That seems to be the story of the Matt Morgan character. He always talks a big game, but he comes up short when it's time to prove himself. Every single time. It's kind of sad for him, really. I mean, this is why I thought he was better off going to WWE last year. The booking in TNA has just never gone in his favor. But that's the way it's turned out for him, and at this point, they've given us no reason to think that will ever change. Seems like such a waste. So Sting wins, again. He gets the title shot, again. Which really shouldn't come as a shock to anyone. I'm not happy about it. Morgan had so much more to gain and so much more to lose from this, but they're doing it to draw for the show, I'm sure. Will Bully Ray Sting draw in more casual fans than Bully Ray Matt Morgan? Yeah, probably. And I don't think anyone really expects Sting to win. I mean, frankly, I'm more worried about Bully Ray retaining the title in a way that protects Sting so much that Bully doesn't get anything out of it, like Sting Bobby Roode last year, than I am about Sting winning. It is really frustrating, though, to see TNA still being so over-reliant on Sting at this stage of the game. I don't care to see it anymore. I haven't for years. It's really short-sighted and counterproductive on their part, but unfortunately, it's just something you have to deal with. Let's just get through it and start looking forward to Bound for Glory. You know, I thought Sabin's return came off really well. The Wet Dream Team Bad Influence stuff was great until the Buzzkills ruined all the fun. The rest of this show just felt phoned in. TNA, look at the ratings. It doesn't take a genius to know that something's not right here. I don't care what the original plan was, okay? It's time to switch gears. You need to get some kind of buzz going. You need to generate some honest-to-God excitement about your product, and continuing on with the aces and eights and pushing Sting back into the title picture for the 10,000th time is not going to do it. That's all I got. This show is boring. Review over.
Terminator NJ. Yeah, we see you over there. You got that challenge from Fourth Dimension 4 Killer last week for that match at Slammiversary. It could be a big draw, actually. What's your answer? He did lay down the challenge. You need to answer.
Because with the stipulation, it could be the end of you with us.
I guess he's going to pull an AJ Styles on us then.
Called it! I told you. I told everyone what was going to happen. I said that douchebag pretender Terminator NJ would not agree to fight me, and what happened? What happened? He didn't agree to fight you. Did not agree to fight me? You're damn right! Not that I blame him. I mean, hell, if I were in his shoes, I wouldn't want to fight me either. But still, what an absolute pussy. Serves him right. He thought he was so fucking funny with that infantile photoshopped picture of me. Well, who's laughing now, dick? I see this continuing. He's not going to answer my challenge. That's obvious. The real question is, how long will he stick around before he's forced to admit that I own him now in every way imaginable? Another week? Maybe 2? And he'll have no choice but to leave the IWC in utter disgrace. Mark my words. In a matter of days, he'll be running for the hills crying for his mama. Or Skynet. Or whatever the hell it was to shit him out. Maybe there's something I can do to expedite this. Yeah. Maybe next week I can give him that little extra verbal shove he needs. And then I'll finally be rid of that little prick. Once and for all.